and a man who wrote the book, literally, figuratively, on Coach K, and has been covering Tiger Woods for many a moon. Wrote a book about Arnie and Jack back in his day as well. From the New York Post, author Ian O'Connor back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you doing, Ian?
Hey, Rich, I have to follow Marissa Tomei. That's a tough act.
Yes, you know what? And Nance, too. It went Nance and then
Nance, right.
Yes, and then we played an archival of a video of Marissa Tomei. And now you, Ian O'Connor. But we think, the third time is the charm. Let's put it that way. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds
okay.
Good to me.
So how do you think Coach K is handling the last 48 hours, 72 hours?
Well, I think he's probably just trying to figure out exactly what he's going to do here. He's been running teams and assembling teams since he was 12 years old in Chicago. So for 63 years later, to not have a team to try to fix, to try to piece together, to recover from, to lead, yeah, I think he's probably a little lost, for one. I don't know how he felt about last night's result. It would seem to me that if UNC wins, well, at least we lost to the championship team. But losing, well, now they felt the pain that we had to feel twice, once in Cameron and, of course, in New Orleans. And maybe you would want that for your chief rival. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I think on Truth Serum, I'd like to hear his answer to that question. But I think the overriding thing is just not having a team anymore to lead is probably a really foreign thing he's got to deal with right now, really for the rest of his life.
I asked Jay Billis in the first hour if there was any chance at all that the speculation and there, it's totally unfounded. There's doesn't seem to be any smoke or fire at all. It's just a bunch of people thinking that the way it all finished up, that he loses to Carolina and Cameron for his final home game on campus, and then he loses to Carolina in the first ever meeting between the storied programs in the Final Four, that he just wouldn't be able to walk away from it. You're laughing. And Billis said, no way. And then he took a broadside at saying that if he ever did it, he should do it at a time most important to Tom Brady, because Brady unretired during the Selection Sunday bracket show that he was on ESPN. So that was an interesting answer from Jay. What do you think? You already laughed. You already laughed about it, right?
Well, I'm actually surprised, Rich, the amount of people who've asked me that question since the loss Saturday night. I was in the Superdome before heading over here to Augusta National. And at age 75, you just can't come back from that. And I have to say this, I sat right across from Hubert Davis in that game. And he was so intensely engaged in every single possession, and the refs kept warning him to back it down. And I mean, he did not take one possession off. And I remember covering him with the Knicks, and he was not really that kind of persona. And so I was a little surprised at that. And then I looked across the floor at Coach K, who was really sitting on his stool for most of that game. And I have to say, being honest, that their age difference, that was in my mind. And so there is no way. I don't think the school could really even let him come back after the farewell tour. It's like, there's just no way that could even be a possibility. Even if he wanted to, I believe the school would say absolutely not. We can't just
really
erase what we just went through for a year. No, I don't think that would be allowed, frankly.
It's his court, Ian. His name's on the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. But, I mean, listen, he had to constantly field questions about the pre-announcement, announcing the announcement in advance, and a lot of people were critical of that. They go through this for a year. I just don't think the university could run that back. I think there's just no way. Tom Brady coming back, I would have been shocked if he didn't come back, based on one past conversation I had with him for one. But just he was one of the best players in the NFL at age 44, so why wouldn't you come back? But yeah, not after a victory tour. You can't. There's just no coming back from that. So I never thought there was any possibility of that happening.
Coach K, author, book Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, the Rise and Reign of Mike Krzyzewski, author, Connor here on the Rich Eisen Show. And just like Jim Nance, you went from New Orleans to Augusta. So I can't believe it, man. And I've learned, when it comes to Tiger or Jordan, right? Those are the two guys that just leap to mind. Kobe, may he rest in peace. You can't put anything past him, but I mean, really, 14 months after almost losing your leg in a car accident, and here he is saying, I think I can win the Masters, and I have to believe him because he's Tiger Woods, and he believes it. I can't even put it in perspective, Ian. I'll leave it up to you to try and do that.
Well, that was the very column I just sent into my office about an hour ago. That if Tiger Woods says it, you have to. If he believes it, then I think you need to believe it too. Now, Ben Hogan did win the U.S. Open after nearly being killed by a Greyhound bus 16 months after that. This is Tiger now, less than 14 months it'll be to try to pull this off. And the circumstances were a little different, of course, but his right leg was almost amputated, and here he is. Now, in December, you recall when he played with his son, Charlie, and the father-son, the PNC, as far as hitting the ball, he looked good. He's hitting 350-yard drives, and it was the walking, of course, and still the case today. That's the problem. But unlike some of the other great athletes you referenced and others, his sport doesn't require him to run. His sport just requires him to walk from one moment to the next, and he delivers his greatness in a stationary position, standing still, and so he has the opportunity to pull this off. Do I think he can win Sunday? Yes. I'm sorry. If Tiger Woods believes it, then I think I was there in 2019. I had a hard time believing that he could do that. But after pulling that off and winning 82 times, and listen, 14 years ago, he won the U.S. Open and played 91 holes in the U.S. Open and won on one leg. His other leg, his left leg, had an ACL tear and 2 stress fractures in it. So, yes. Can he win Sunday? I absolutely believe he can.
Well, I mean, Jim Nantz, again, with whom we just hung up, Ian O'Connor, said that he sat down with Tiger for a special that's airing on Sunday on CBS an hour before the last day's broadcast. He sat down with him about a month ago, had no indication that this was possible, and that their interview time got pushed a little bit because Tiger was in the middle of a workout. He said it lasted 4 hours. And I cannot imagine. Do we have any details as to what he's done? I mean, again, this man had open fractures of his tibia fibula. I mean, his foot was crushed. I mean, do we have any concept of what his regimen has been to get to this point?
The specifics he's not gotten into. Now, it's clear that he can't. And I've talked to people close to him. He can't. He used to get to the course so early. Like, for instance, yesterday, I was on the first tee box at like 6:59 a.m. before it was still dark, because the old Tiger, he'd get out there as early as possible to get his work in, and I thought there was a chance he might do that. Well, he didn't end up teeing off until 2:45 in the afternoon. Somebody close to him said to me, Tiger, with these injuries, it takes him a while to get his day started. He needs a lot of prep work and rehab and physical therapy in the morning to get that motor going. And so I think it's been obviously very extensive. He said his surgeons gave him an opportunity, and now he has to endure the pain to sort of seize that opportunity to win this tournament. And it's interesting to me that his tee time Thursday, I knew they would give him early Thursday, late Friday, to give him the best chance to recover from Thursday. It reminds me of that Jimmy Connors run at the U.S. Open when he was, 38, 39 years old, and they kept giving him night matches to give him the best chance. But I think at he's teeing off at 10:34 on Thursday, that gives him an opportunity to have a few hours in the morning to just be able to be ready for that. And I don't know if that factored into the Masters tee time decision there, but he's obviously gone through hell to get to this point. To me, and I remember in November, December when we saw him publicly, he looked physically bigger up top. So I think he did a lot of upper body work. And, yeah, his strength is off the charts in his upper body. And so now it's just a question of walking. Fred Couples said yesterday he looks phenomenal the way he's hitting the ball. It's as good as basically anybody, Justin Thomas included. It's just, can he walk 72 holes on one good leg like he walked 91 holes on one good leg 14 years ago to win the U.S. Open? But
the bottom line is, if anybody can do it, it's this guy, right? I mean, that's it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. 25th anniversary of his first win there too. They must be over the moon. ESPN, CBS, the folks at Augusta National, they must be out of their minds over the moon that this is happening. You know,
right? CBS didn't get Coach K in the national championship game.
right?
They get Tiger Woods Sunday on the back nine with a chance to win. I was here in 2019. I've been doing this for 36, 37 years. That's the best sporting event I've ever covered.
Right.
And if he wins this, that'll make, I think I wrote in my column, 2019 feel as small as a range ball. I mean, this would be just ridiculously unbelievable, but because Tiger Woods says it can happen, just like Michael Jordan or Serena Williams or Tom Brady,
yes,
they have so much credibility. If they say it can happen, then I have to believe it too.
I'm glad you mentioned Serena. I should have mentioned her before. That she's exactly perfect. It's a perfect person to mention. I mean, Phelps, right? I mean, that's who we're talking about here. That's the level we're talking about here. And I'm jealous and appreciative of you and for you to join here, Ian. So for my colleague to my right, who's a Duke Met fan, he's still feeling it, the pain. T.J. Jefferson. Can you tell TJ who's starting for the Mets? Who's the opening day starter for the Mets right now? Is it you or is it me? Who is it? Who is it, Ian? What do you got for me?
Yeah, I don't know. I live. My wife of many years is died with the Mets. We watch every game at home, and she can't believe DeGrom is hurt again, and now Scherzer's status. And yeah, it's tough. She's very happy that Buck Showalter is the manager of the Mets.
She should be. I love that guy. By the way, great hire. I think he's perfect. I think he's terrific. Honestly.
And listen, Buck thought he was going to win the World Series in New York in '94, and the World Series was taken away from him and everybody else. But he thought, so this is another chance for him to win in New York. I do think he wouldn't admit this publicly, but I do think that Joe Torre taking over and winning all those championships with his Yankees team, that hurt. So here's an opportunity for Buck to deliver in New York. I think he will. But yeah, it's unbelievable that only the Mets, it seems, has this run of bad luck. And DeGrom, let's hope he's back sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Ian O'Connor. Enjoy it. We'll chat down the line, but have a great time in Augusta. Have a great time.
Thanks a lot, Rich. Yep.
You got it. That's Ian O'Connor joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.